3:36 in the afternoon this Saturday, May 30th, 2020. I'm just back here to give more reports about what's happening here in New Jersey. And I came across this from a flea market in the area. They're going back to opening shortly. And this was from a dental office. And I was out taking another journey on a bike to go to a convenience store, and I had my face mask below my nose, and the guy started giving me a stern warning, and I thought that, he was going to start a big problem, the manager, behind the registers and the self-checkout, and but things calmed down and everything was okay. But that hasn't been happening with me when I'm at places. I've been keeping my mask below my nose. No one has given me a problem with that, and I usually just take it off even before I leave, walking out of stores and so on. Sometimes the mask is down, or, when I'm walking around at times and so on. But that's one story. Black helicopters, that's another story, buzzing past me, and then on the way, almost 3 miles away, another one came near me, buzzing me, sort of. Could be coincidence, but there's a large base in the area, and haven't seen helicopters, black helicopters, not too recently. A lot of times they fly their big jumbo, whatever they are, 757s. They go right like over me, and it's like I could hear. It almost sounds like their landing gear is opening, and I think it is, because they're going to land not too far. But anyway, I wanted to just read these things to tell you that, to me, this is crazy time. Things are very ominous, and they're moving toward a certain way, and the conditions have just gotten to this point now where it's incredible, really, how things are progressing along. Let me just read it. So they're opening on June 5th, and this is what it says. First, masks are required for all customers in big black letters. Then, talks about the precautions and blah, 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 to be safe. And then they're going to address it with, they're following medical professionals, to identify best practices, and are taking the following actions: provide hand sanitizing in several locations, display signage recommending safe personal hygiene, increased sanitizing of high-touch surfaces, monitoring of bathrooms throughout the day to ensure adequate soap supply, etc., encouraging employees and customers to practice social distancing, wash your hands for 20 seconds minimum, cover your nose and mouth with tissue when sneezing or coughing, avoid touching hands, nose and mouth, stay home if feeling unwell. And that's their priority. Directives of federal and state authorities for their customers and employees. Here's the notice to the vendors. They're modifying their operational procedures, whereas when you enter the market, management will place you in a space which you must stay in. A space to the left and right of you must be vacant. Merchants must wear a glove and mask at all times. Customers must wear a glove and mask at all times. Greet and go, no gathering, no self-service. Be as efficient as possible with your shopping. In other words, don't linger around, just get out of there. And then merchants and customers must practice social distancing and maintain 6 feet between you and others. And then vendors who violate any rule or regulation will be asked to immediately leave the market. Any vendor asked to leave will forfeit any monies paid for their rental space. All operation procedures subject to change. Disclaimer, you could read it for yourself. You can be exposed to this. They're warning you, and it's your decision to enter the market at your peril, access the facilities. You're doing this knowingly and voluntarily with your full knowledge of this risk. If you disagree, do not enter the market rounds or use its facilities. Entrance to the market will constitute a waiver and release of the flea market from any, all liability with respect to exposure to COVID-19 virus. A copy of this notice is available in our main office. I don't know what your experiences have been through the years with flea markets, but that is not a flea market. That's not a free market. That's a saying when someone comes by and they want to get the price really way down, and the vendor gets upset and he says, "It's a flea market, not a free market." You know, that's like the big saying of all time. Well, now it's not even a free market. It's a whatever the word is, you know. It's not free. You got to do all these things and jump through these hoops in order to even stay there, and it's waivers and liabilities, and they're going to throw you out if you don't obey. If even the customers have to wear gloves and masks, and you can't linger around. And this is really disturbing. That's what these things are. This is just one little thing going on, okay? So this has become totally entrenched in the psyche and the laws and rules of everything to obey. And this is what you're going to have to face to do anything now. And this is just the start of it, okay? Here's one from an area dental office, okay? Now here we go with this. This is what you have to do. All the things you have to obey and follow if you even want to have your teeth looked at, to have dental services. It says, "We hope this message finds you and yours healthy during these challenging times. We're pleased to announce that we will be reopening the office on a limited basis starting June 2nd. These places have been closed all along for months and months now. So this is a limited basis opening, okay? Now listen to what you have to follow. Crazy. It's getting really crazy. We've implemented the following safety measures as mandated by the state in accordance with the best health practices from the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. New safety measures. All of our clinical staff receive wellness and temperature checks. They will be wearing appropriate personal protective equipment, PPE, during patient encounters to include masks and eye protection. All of our staff have completed training on all new workflows and infection prevention measures. Patients and staff will answer screening questions and have their temperatures taken with a touchless scanner upon arrival to the office. This sounds like China all over again, brand new. So the staff and the patients, anyone who goes in there has to have their temperature taken, okay? And I don't know, are they going to report somebody whose temperature is above normal? And are they? I don't know. I'm just saying, is that what their protocol is? They're supposed to contact whoever, you know, to report someone like this, okay? Including their staff, and what's the repercussions, and you know, quote unquote recommending quarantine or whatever, you know, happens at that point. And right now things are pretty innocuous in all of this. So I think when things ramp up again and this becomes, you know, back in vogue again, and you know, this is going to be even more serious. But this is now, and this isn't free. Continuing, we've reorganized our offices to maximize social distancing and cleanliness, and we have workflows. We have workflows to allow patients to wait outside or in their cars until their exam room is ready. Patients will be contacted via a pager or phone call when the provider is ready for the visit to begin. So they have to sit out in their car. First they have to go in there, have their temperature scanned. And if they pass that, then they have to go sit in their car and wait for to be paged or phone called to come back in. Patients are instructed to come to appointments alone unless a minor child accompanied by a guardian or patient who is physically in need of a companion. Patients are required to be wearing a mask prior to entering the office. Patients who are sick or who have had exposures to COVID-19 will be rescheduled. Prohibiting visitors with the exception of patients unable to consent to treatment on their own. So anyway, I'm not making this a point about this specific office, not at all. This is just what's happening, okay? I don't know, probably in every office, dental office, maybe doctor's office, I don't know. But this is how draconian things are, and again, this is the good stage. This is the good part of things. I got rid of a lot of stuff that I had. I used to do flea marketing. I haven't had a car for years now, 2 or 3 years. And so I just got rid of this stuff. I had, you know, old books, memorabilia, jewelry, artwork, and things like that, and collectibles and so forth, medallions. And I just put it out there, and I put a free ad, and everyone came and took it. They were polite, and they kept it clean, and just everything is gone. They took everything. So to me, this is just crazy. And like I told some people that I used to know back then about what was going to happen, that there's not going to be any money. You're going to get a chip. It's going to be satellite controlled type of thing. And there won't be any money anymore and no flea markets. So right now there's still cash, you know, ability to pay. But I said there's not going to be money, cash, and you're not going to be able to buy and sell like this, you know, without that. And probably it would, I don't know, end flea marketing. I don't know. But so this sort of like hits home to me, you know. From the past, I've always gone to flea markets and found things, all kinds of things, and tried to, you know, make a few dollars to exist on. And so now this is what's happening. All right, so there's just a sort of a microcosm of things, how things are developing and unfolding, and the strictness, and they're making the law and pointing to, you know, legal ramifications if you don't follow, or you're not going to be in the LA allowed to even come in an office to get, you know, medical service, help, treatment, or even go to a flea market without doing all these things. These places can't function like this, like a flea market or whatever, even businesses now. And I described what I experienced the other day, trying to go to like small restaurants to just buy something to eat, and all the things that were preventing me from even going inside and even ordering. And so, and all the businesses, the small businesses and large businesses, were closed. Many of them. So just those type of businesses, like food businesses, liquor stores. And I go past liquor stores and they're doing a booming business, and no wonder, because people are just sitting around wondering and worried about everything, what's going to happen, no jobs. So I guess that's, a big alternative, and it's like that's the biggest crowd you see if you go past places, is liquor stores. And there's been mention that what is essential business, the essential businesses, and others made the point that abortion clinics are apparently essential businesses and are remained open through all of this, whereas you can't even go to a store and buy things not qualified or considered or that they tell you is allowable or acceptable, including, I guess, seeds or whatever, except food and essentials like toilet paper and paper towels, which most of the stores are like completely out of that. And again, with the businesses, from what I heard, again, statistics or whatever, if this is accurate or not, that 50%, sorry, I didn't mean to yell, 50% of all small businesses anticipate and expect that they will be out of business completely, permanently. Now, what does that tell you? I mean, it tells you, again, the writing is on the wall. Things seem okay now, but it's not okay. And there's more things I wanted to talk about, way more things. I came upon a lot of information yesterday about the timeline, again, of this, right in your face, right out in the open, what they're planning to do and when, as far as vaccination and chipping. And this isn't going to wait, and they're going to start this testing full blast within a month or two, okay? It's going to start total testing. You have to get tested, and big time. So they're saying like 40 million Americans per month will be able to be, not be able to be, but I guess required right now. That's the nice way that they're putting it, required, expected to be tested. And I'll repeat in case you didn't hear this, like last week or a little bit ago, I was going down the road and there was this big medical office building, 2 floors. Down below they have a drugstore, and it was a Sunday, so the offices were closed, but I noticed in the back that there was a canopy or open tent. And I said, what is that? Let me go back there. And so I rode my bike back there. And as I had mentioned, there were lanes set up, like 3 lanes. And this was the entrance with this overhanging tent that you had to go through with cones. And then you go to the next stage, the next step. There's another, place where I guess you're tested or whatever. Another big tent. And then you have the cones and the directions, the signs tell you have to go this way and go over to this big tent, and I guess whatever happens there, they tell you. I don't know if they tell you what the results are, or they tell you what to do, and they sort of explain to people, what's next, and that they should contact them or they will be contacted. And that's getting back to this Trace Act, HR 6666. Again, if you didn't hear me talk about that, and I'm sure mostly everyone knows about that, the Trace Act, test, reach, and contact everyone. So this is it. I mean, this is going to happen. And it's not just a question of, will there be a second wave or a third wave? No, it's totally anticipated that there's going to be this ramping up again, and in conjunction with normal sickness and seasonality, seasonal flu time periods especially, or before. And so they're not gearing up for like just saying, oh, we hope this will be okay, and so forth. They're pushing, Operation Warp Speed. They're pushing to get everyone, first of all, tested without a doubt. No matter if things stay the way they are or even improve, they're going to do this because the point is that everyone has come in contact with this. Everyone is infected, and you have to have the next step. You have to have the vaccine. A vaccine, actually 4. I'll get to that. This is another. I'm not going into this here, but there's going to be four vaccines in conjunction with this chip. Okay, so that's where it's all heading, and it's starting right now, and it's going to go into this, and they're just saying that with testing, and hopefully they're saying that they'll have a vaccine in time to prevent these waves. And even if they do have a vaccine in time for these next waves, that there's no assurance that it will be effective or not produce, consequences, even deaths. They said it. I'm not saying this, just from the vaccine, because they're going to run it through, apparently. They're saying there's not really enough time to test it properly, so they might just sort of, go hog wild and start doing this. And they're preparing, I guess, 500 million vials and syringes. I'm not going to talk about that here either, but that's another thing to discuss. Because I think they're going to keep retesting, like the same people, or everyone needs to be constantly retested. So they'll be retest and retest and retest even after you were tested and found negative or positive or what have you, and even receive a vaccine. So they're just saying that this is a done deal. There's no two ways about it. That this is going to continue, and you have to be tested. You have to have these vaccines regardless, no matter what future things happen or don't happen with this, the severity. This is what's coming, okay? And so that's the story, a little bit of the story. But if I'm sure you could tell what I'm saying here. This is the writing's on the wall. This is disturbing, amazing, crazy, and everyone is wearing masks, even outside, even walking, even everywhere, not just in stores. And it's sort of freaking me out, and as you know, I can't stand this. It's wrong, but in a way, what can you do? If you're going to go in a store, you have to comply whether you like it or not, and in one way or another, at least feign that you are, or do it in a certain way where, like me, I try just to keep my nose out so I can breathe. I'm not going to be suffocating. You lose oxygen by having these masks, especially on full time. So many people are wearing it so much, especially the workers, the employees. So what does that tell you? Now the employees of places that are open have to endure this, and they're experiencing less oxygen, and your immune system, your body, everything needs to have oxygen. And not only that, the way the body is, just briefly here, you have to expel things through your mouth, through your nose, what have you, expectoration, and so forth, to get rid of things. That's the way the body was made. So if you stop that, process, and you're breathing constantly into this thing, this, material, you're going to be breeding more and more and more germs the more you keep breathing and holding that on you, having that in place. So you're going to be breathing even much more, what's the word? It's going to get bigger. There's going to be more and more germs and bacteria and so forth, being, I can't think of the word, you know what I'm saying, being in that material, spawning, whatever, germinating, whatever word you want to say. So, okay, it's just amazing what you have to do, even to go to a flea market now, go to a dentist, or I guess a doctor. I don't know. I'm totally natural health, have been for decades. I haven't been to a doctor in decades, so I have no clue what's going on at doctors' offices or whatever office or place medically. But this is what's happening, and all right. Like I said, I might be back and do other videos. Let's see, what's another topic that I was going to do? Yeah, well, like I said, I came across all this information specifically about, right from the .gov and these organizations, right from their site, saying exactly what they're going to do, what point things are at, where it's heading, what they have planned, what inoculations, the progress of creating even the shots, the syringes, the testing, how that's going to go. They're telling you right out in the open. So this is where it's heading. Me personally, I just get a feeling like this isn't going to be very, very much longer. They're going to start full speed ahead, full blast with first of all the testing pretty shortly, and then they say they want to have this vaccine ready for the next season, the next flu season, and the next outbreak. And they're saying there's like 4 months, June, July, August, September, and they're shooting for October for this to begin, to look out, and to have all the testing done basically by then, so that the anticipation of going forward with the vaccine some shortly after that. Don't forget, October, November, December, they're pushing by the end of the year, that this is pretty much a done deal. They want everyone to be vaccinated by then, and as a secondary type or continuation into the winter of the flu season, preparing everyone and sort of making them anticipate this is exactly what's about to take place, and this is what they're about to do. So I can't think of anything else. There's other things that I can't even think of it right now. There's a lot of stuff. The masks, I was going to talk about that, and freedoms. What about freedom? Making their own laws, enacting their own so-called emergency laws or rules or regulations, indiscriminately in each state. It's not what's the word? Like, each state is different, uniform. Whatever one governor decides to do, one person, he could say and do whatever he wants to, and that's what it has to be. That's not what the Constitution is. It is not supposed to be for the people. It's not a small group of these people just telling you what to do without any consent or consideration or input by the people, by the governed. It's turned into the total, I don't want to use the word Gestapo because we're not quite there yet, but draconian, tell you what to do, make sure you have to do it, and what else can you say? They don't even pass laws. They don't even confer with anyone, President says he's going to do this, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess that he decided to do this, and that's it, he did it. And even, there's not even legislation that a lot of this thing goes through. It's just like, in the name of emergency acts, and they're able to declare martial law. It didn't happen this time. I think many were fearful that this was it. This was going to happen. That was going to be invoked. So far, it hasn't. And whatever else is going on with protests, so much so forth, protests, and seems obvious that there's agent provocateurs, without a doubt, being involved in this, making it look like the whole country is rioting and falling apart and ready to go into turmoil, and then the National Guards and the Army have to be sent in. So again, this is a lot of social engineering, in my opinion, and what's the word, planned exercise type thing. And it's ironic because it's happening all at the same time in different places, and make it look like this. All this is going on, making everyone really fearful, like everything is falling apart, when it's a handful of places and a handful of incidents that make it seem like, put the light on things, making it seem so bad, like it's happening everywhere. It's not. It's just a few places, and it was just happened in a brief moment. And again, there's good reason to think that, this is fake. Okay, what other word is there for it? It was just, orchestrated. All right, false Frankie. You know what I'm saying? So there's Frankie. I don't know if that's Frankie right there. He's pointing. He's trying to say, look, it's supposed to be a free market, but it's not it's supposed to be a flea market, not a free market. But now it's not even a free market. It's a controlled market. It's a controlled society. And I said enough. Maybe I'll be back. And also, what's going on in the skies? Again, Igor Kostelek. Just some amazing things going on in the sky, and his videos are being censored and doctored, not by him, or things being taken out. And I noticed this, all right? And what do you call it? The comments, no comments shown. At least to me, I can't see any comments on these videos when the comments are open, and there's thousands of people often listening to him, so that's impossible, number one. Number two, many times he's had live stream going with the live stream, comments open, and it says that it's been disabled for this video when it hasn't been. And there were comments. Other times I went back during a live stream, or even watched his video after it was live stream, and there were comments, and then I go back and it says it was disabled. The comments are disabled. So there's a lot of screwy things going on, messing with people, messing with channels, messing with their footage, because there's things that were, how do I describe this, that were shown, when you're watching a video and you could put the cursor on the red line and it shows like frames, so that you could go on that and you'll see the different frames as you move it there, and then that'll show what's on the screen at that specific time point in the video. Well, I noticed that I was moving that cursor over in his last video, or two second to last video, last night's live stream, at night, and I noticed that when I clicked it to put it on that point, it was something totally different, entirely different. So I don't know what's going on. And it was places where there were sights of the moon and of what's up there, and I think it's not being shown. Okay, it was on the original when he recorded it on his screen, but it's not there. Okay, so to me, again, with all this angel sightings, and it's every video of his, I see this more or less. There's sightings in the sky of the same type thing. Some videos not very apparent and just obscure in the background, but I could see it. And, you know, maybe there might not be mentioned by anyone in the chat or in the comments, either one. You know, usually there is, where someone says, wow, look at so-and-so, the 20-second, you know, hour, whatever, minute and seconds, and what is that? You know, I saw something that looks like this or that. And so usually that's there. So if you go to his channels like that, you could usually see people saying that, and you could go to that place and you could see what they're looking at, you know, something unusual. They think many of them think it's angelic, you know, they do. It's something, it's not they say it's not a bug or some other glitch in the camera, but something is there, and it's bright and it's glowing and it looks like a person or a form and wings or whatever and flying, obviously. So if I don't do videos about that, at least I mention that here. So there's a lot of different things to talk about. At least I mentioned it, and you know, I might come back and put a video on, at least with the links, and possibly go over it. There was one article from Newsweek, very, very, you know, essential article, telling you what's going on, what's going to happen, what their plans are with the vaccination and so on. I was going to maybe, I don't know, it's pretty long, or just put the link there. So, and my gut feeling about all of this is that I'm just sensing it. This is coming down soon. Whether, you know, it's not hype. I'm saying this. It's not trying to cause, you know, sensational way of saying this is going to happen. You know, and some don't like that. I don't like that. You know, very much. But anyway, my gut feeling is there's things are coming down. I sense it. Momentum is starting to happen, and no two ways about it. It's laid out what's going to happen and exactly how, and even basically the timeline of this. And again, what's going on with the economy and jobs and everything. This is in play in all of this too, and other things, and, you know, repercussions and reactions of others who may get fed up with these masks and isolation and distancing. And, you know, I can't stand it, really. It's crazy. It's like the Twilight Zone again. Yesterday I was out and it was like the Twilight Zone, feeling like what I'm looking at isn't real, because they're all in masks, all not saying anything, all walking around in the parking lot in stores, and walking in and out of stores in their cars, all with masks, not saying anything. It's you know, it's really crazy. And then again, things that's going on in the sky. I think that this is in play here now, very, very much so, and that there's events ready to take place with that too. I really do believe that. I sense that, especially what I'm hearing and seeing actually with my own eyes in the sky, and what's being shown on camera, as I say. You know, it's just amazing, the feeling I'm getting that this isn't gonna be something to be endured for very much longer, and it can't be. And you know, we want to get out of here in the whisker of time, hopefully, you know, to avoid all of this. So this is on the horizon, and again, I can't take this as far as the masks go and everything. I really can't, even if it's just in stores, because I feel like my conscience is violated, my rights are violated, the Constitution is violated, what others have to say is disregarded, and these few elect, you know, who tell everyone what to do, they make the rules and there's no consideration for anyone else, or that's not what this country is or has been, just telling you what to do and that's it. And you have to comply. And I forget what else I was going to say, but yeah, better listen to them, follow them. And right now, the laws are pretty slack and lenient, Basically, if you want to get service at a place or eat or something or go in and buy something, you have to obey and wear masks and so forth. But the rest of it is coming. The forced testing. Again, with that Trace Act, they're not going to leave anybody out. They're going to come right to your door, and they're going to have the appropriate authority to do this, put it that way, and you have to comply. There's no two ways about it. Once they get the vaccine, you're going to be forced to, not you, but whoever is here, the world is going to be forced to take it. And again, what I hear is it's going to be four different vaccines, not just one, and then different retestings for it. So it's lunacy, it really is. Again, what rights do you have? Where did they go? And they're being just totally overridden. And what can someone do about it? Really, even those who consider opposition and really stern force, they want to oppose at all costs. I mean, where basically, what's that going to do? I hate to say it, but even in the Bible, it says, that though in Revelation concerning this, the mark and all of this, and martyrdom, it said those who go into captivity must go into captivity. So it's saying that this is what's going to happen. They're going to be have to go to these camps and so on, and all the information, things that we've heard and that we know what the Bible says about beheading and forcing you also to renounce your faith. Although again, I'm not going to get into this about the grace issue, but it's not, let me put it this way, it's not going to be just a renouncing of your faith unto martyrdom, but if you're saved, put it that way. So it's not like, again, they're very, very controversial, but whatever someone does, in other words, if you fail to do this during the tribulation, then you're going to lose your salvation. I think everyone out there, I don't know most, but many, that's what it's usually taught, that's what is going to happen. So I won't pursue this further. I mentioned that in a couple of videos back about this, the grace issue, and, dispensation, so on. That it may seem like I'm telling you what's false, that I'm telling you what's against in Scripture. Yet, again, I'll just leave it there. I mean, if you know what I'm saying. But, okay. I have no idea how long I've been on. I sort of went over much of the other different things I was going to talk about, so that's the kind of thing that I could come back and discuss. What else was I going to say? Was there anything else as far as current things going on here, things to mention? I guess I mentioned them. Just the flea markets. It's just crazy, especially if you've had a history and you've been familiar with doing that, and have a lot of memories and have been involved in that a lot during your life, and it's really hitting home, even with this, you know. All right, that's it. I'm done for now. I'll see what I'm going to come back later and talk about. All right, see you later.